What's going on, guys? This is Damien from The Lookout, and today we're doing something new. We are looking back at the UV block and we are trying to figure out what worked, what didn't, and why. Today we're looking at the least popular leaders from the UV block. If you like this type of videos, hit that like and subscribe button. It helps us out a lot and we are on our way to 700 subs. Also, if you haven't registered for Zenkai Showdown, our big live event in Poland, link for pre-registration is in the description below. Now, roll the video. Before we start the list, we need to figure out what defines a least popular leader. So the metric that I'm using is I went on Deck Planet and I've went through all registered decks for every leader in the UV block. These are, no filter, so these are both like jank, competitive, fun, whatever. I was just looking like, okay, what is the number of public registered deck for this leader? I went through all of them and this is what I came up with. It's pretty interesting. We will start with number 10, which is like the most popular of least popular leaders, and then we're heading to number 1, which is probably the least popular leader on the website overall. I'm super excited to show this to you guys, and if you want, before we start the video, before we start the list, you can actually write your own predictions and see if you got any of them right. So here it is, number 10. Number 10 on our list is Pilaf from set 10 with only 77 registered decks on Deck Planet. So Pilaf, well, I mean, it came out in set 10 and I know that there are some people out there who are huge fans of Pilaf, and I mean, I don't want to be dunking on the deck. The deck is fun. It's definitely a fun, casual deck. The problem is that, there are some other Earthling leaders that do what you want to do better, and the boss monster isn't really that good. It lacks defense. So it's an interesting deck. It's certainly not bad. It is the field card where like you put 2 under, you put 2 at the bottom, you draw 3, so you're plussing 1 and you need to have 2 in your hand, but at least you're going through your deck fast if you're trying to assemble something, which actually gives it, like some jank combo potential because you can grab your pieces very fast. But other than that, like it's not a bad leader per se. I think it's just outshined by some other leaders. So I'm sorry, Pilaf gang, but 10th place goes to Pilaf. Number 9 goes to SHErman Salsa from set 12 with only 69 nice registered decks. And yeah, first off, I expect that the number of SHErman Salsa decks will go up, especially now that we have seen the upcoming promo card for the deck. But where did it go wrong? Well, the problem is, I believe that SHErman Salsa came out in a period where UV block had a lot of self-milled decks. And a lot of decks that were trying to profit from self-mill. Yes, we had overwhelm strategies, but a deck that relies on profiting if your opponent doesn't have cards in drop area will naturally struggle in this game, especially, with, of course, self-mill decks like U7. U7 is pretty difficult for SHErman Salsa to combat. But I'm pretty certain that someone else will take this place, because I think people will be super excited to try out the newest promo card. And yeah, SHErman Salsa, they're not gonna be on this slot for a very long time, but that's it. Number 9, SHErman Salsa from set 12. Number 8, with just 4 decks less than SHErman Salsa, is Lord Slug from BT12. I can already hear one of my team members screaming because he loves Lord Slug. Lord Slug is one of those. It came out in BT12 and I've said this already when I was talking about green. Set 12 is when green was really entering this let's try something weird territory, and Lord Slug is the weirdest mill deck in the entire game because it basically gives your opponent cards and then you can actually mill your opponent if they choose not to put those cards back to their deck. It's playing on your opponents being greedy, but the problem is that you're just giving them resources. If you cannot mill them fast enough, you're just filling their hand with resources. And this turned off a lot of people, especially like if you want to do mill strategy, you probably want to do Cooler instead, or Android 18 before the Frieza errata. So yeah, Lord Slug didn't really do that well, and like it being one of these first weird green decks to come out in Unison Warrior block didn't really do it much favors. But there it is, 8th place Lord Slug with 65 decks. Believe it or not, it's once again super close, with the 7th slot having only 63 decks registered, and this is Demon God Dabra from set 16. Yes, I would honestly expect Demon God Dabra to have much less registered decks, because in my opinion it's pretty crap. It's definitely the worst set 16 archetype that we got, and if you haven't seen this one, it's weird. It's trying to mesh swap with some weird unison play plus spirit boost from the leader, where it wants you to pay 1 to play your Mechikabura unison from the drop in rest mode with marker, and then use its +1 to do something, but like at the end of the turn you send it to the drop, not to the drop, but you send it to the warp instead, which just kinda, so okay, you can do this like 4 times, and then activate battle, spirit boost 1, once per turn your leader can get 6k, and even the swap engine is extremely underwhelming. So it's one of the worst archetypes that we've had in a very, very long time, and it's crazy because these slots are super close to one another. But yeah, Dabra set 16 somehow, 7th spot, not the first one. So yeah, if by now you thought that you knew what's gonna be at the first slot, I think that you're prepared for quite a surprise. 6th slot on our list goes to something that some of you would probably put a lot higher on this list: Trunks the Hero Successor, the bad one from set 14. So when it came out, it was extremely underwhelming. This was the set that showed us the Spirit Boost mechanic, and this was also at the time when Soul Striker was one of the premier blue decks, and basically, you know, whatever Trunks did, Soul Striker did better, and it just didn't land well with people. I think that like this blue aggro deck that is Trunks Hero Successor has some potential, but yeah, it's not really that good. However, I want to mention this, just so that we are clear. 2 decks came out, 2 blue decks, blue archetypes in set 14. Trunks Hero Successor and Hirudegarn, the Calamity Revived, the shitty Hirudegarn deck. Trunks has 57 decks, okay. Hirudegarn has 95. Hirudegarn has more decks registered than any other deck on this list, which is crazy. Because I would think that you would also probably think that Hirudegarn is somewhere, you know, at the top 3. No, it's more represented than anything else on this list. It's crazy. Okay, we are almost halfway there. Let's go. Number 5. Number 5, we are halfway there through the garbage pile. Bulma, Life of a Heroine. Okay, so this isn't surprising. I would expect this deck to be like somewhere in the top 5. It came out in Battle Evolution Booster, and it's one of those super jank decks, and you know me, you know I love making jank decks, but Bulma was like an attempt. It was an homage to all female characters from Dragon Ball, or at least to a large majority of them, and it was supposed to be like multicolored but not really deck because they don't have specified cost. The problem that I always had when trying to make this deck is it appears to be doing, it's like Pike 1. It appears to be doing a lot, but it actually doesn't do almost anything at the same time. Which is quite of a turnoff. So yeah, I don't think that people really enjoyed this deck for that reason, and it only has 55 slots. So it's only 2 slots shorter than Trunks, which is fair, I believe. But yeah, number 5, Bulma, Life of a Heroine. Number 4 is actually a tie. Yes, it is between Paikuhan and the life-flipping Frieza, the Frieza resurrected leader. So we have a tie. Both decks at both leaders at 52 decks. So I don't think that anyone is really surprised to see these two here. I'm more surprised that they actually have the same number of decks. Neither of these leaders are actually very good. I'm sorry, Paikuhan fans. Please, I'm sorry. Paikuhan is super cool to play, but it kinda lacks a lot of things, I would say. And Frieza, it's one of those decks like Bulma that does stuff, but not really, but actually does stuff, and it takes time for it to do stuff. Frieza Resurrected is, it's lackluster, I would say. None of its, from the list that I have seen, none of its battle cards except the big boss monster actually have any sort of protection, and that one has like deflect. So it falls apart quickly. But yeah, Paikuhan and Frieza Resurrected. Paikuhan fans, before you hang me, Paikuhan is probably getting a Z leader next set. So this deck is going to be a lot better, and I think if it gets a Z leader, it's just gonna propel it, to far above this list. Frieza, I think we're stuck. I think we're stuck at the 4th slot. Now, here's a surprise for number 3. Number 3 is a leader from the newest set, Red Ribbon Robot. Yes, Red Ribbon Robot actually only has 48 decks registered on Deck Planet, which is, I think, the lowest that any leader had on release in the last couple of sets. Because there were some leaders who have lower numbers, of course. There are still 2 more to go through, but for a set that just came out, not a lot of people are excited for Red Ribbon, and you cannot really blame them, because what's the competition? The other slot was Gammas, and here you already have the movie hype, and Gammas are so much better than Red Ribbon. Red Ribbon is actual trash. So, I'm going to try to play it because I cannot help myself, but I think that it's awful. So yeah, I'm sorry, Red Ribbon fans, but 48, it's not very good. If it's any condolence, Red Ribbon Robot has double the amount of decks registered on Deck Planet than the number 2 slot. And number 2 slot is actually what I think that a lot of you thought is gonna be number 1. Either this or Robot. Here's who's number 2. Number 2, to literally no one's surprise, no one on the internet is surprised about this, is Chilled. Yes, it's Chilled from BT13, the awful I want to create swarms of tokens and then give them stuff green leader. It doesn't really help that Chilled, not only that it's bad, it also came out in the same set with King Cold, who's just amazing. So yeah, Chilled, I think everyone saw this one coming. What you didn't see coming is that this garbage isn't number 1. It's not. There is actually a deck that has less number of leader that has a less number of decks registered than Chilled. Are you trying to guess who it is? you'll never guess it. So let's just go. Here is number 1. The leader with the least number of decks registered on Deck Planet, the least popular UV block leader, who is not Shield nor Vegeta, is actually Janemba. Janemba, what's its full name? I already forgot. The Demonic Dynasty. Yeah, that is. It's from what set even is this, man? So this guy came out in Vicious Rejuvenation set 12. This is probably not only the least popular leader according to Deck Planet. It's from UV Block. I think this is the least popular leader on the website in general. So yeah, I'm sorry Janemba fans, but this one really caught me off guard. I had no idea that this guy is gonna be less popular than Shield and so much less popular than Vegeta and other stuff. It has only 18 decks registered. Now, if anyone from Deck Planet is watching this, let me know if this is a bug. Like, there is a realistic chance that this might be a bug. I wasn't playing so much back when this Janemba was a thing. Apparently it never was a thing, so I didn't miss anything. And I've asked around and no one could really give me a solid... And some people gave me solid reasons. They said, like, well, you know, there were other decks, like Soul Striker, and other blue decks that just did what Janemba does, just better. But 18, like, wow. Okay. Let me know in the comments below if you actually managed to guess that Janemba is the least popular UV block leader. That's it for the video. Now I'm off to dig myself out of the dumpster pile. Let me know in the comments below if there's anything that surprised you on this list. Are you surprised that something wasn't here, or are you surprised by some placings of some leaders? Let me know in the comments. I read all of your comments, I try to reply to everything, I love our little community, and hit the subscribe button. We are on our way to 700 subs, when we're gonna have an awesome giveaway. And once again, if you have missed, pre-registration for Zenkai Showdown is now opened, link is in the description below. This is Damien from The Lookout, and I will see all of you in the next video.